Welcome! This is Septum Sen versus the World. I'm Septum Sen, and I'm here with Kotobuki Jake.
Hi.
And we are here to do our usual releases. These are the releases coming out for the first week of September, the 5th, I believe. And we are going to just go over them as per usual. We've got a long list, so we'll probably get started pretty early this time. Maybe we'll take the pickup video and talk about news and stuff like that at that point. So, I'm starting today with Fairy Tail Collection 9. We already talked about Fairy Tail Collection 9, but it's making a reappearance because it got delayed. So, if it doesn't get delayed again, episodes 188 through 212 will come out next week. So, anything else to say on Fairy Tail Collection?
No, I think we covered it last time.
I guess it's on your radar, though, because you collect these sets.
Oh, yeah, no, I do collect those sets. And, of course, updates with Fairy Tail in general. I'm 2 volumes away from finishing the manga.
And I have yet to read Volume 1.
Yes, this will be far and away the longest manga I've completed. Yes. Alright, so are we going on to the next one?
Yep.
And I hate to say this, but in researching for this week, I did not realize what the anime were going to be that we were looking at. I should have more to say on the live action stuff when we get to it. But Tsukiyota the Animation is the next one up. Funimation release. As far as I know, it's an idol, the idols genre that's become really big right now. Dancing, singing, J-pop, all that stuff.
Yep.
Apparently a boy-centric one. So if that's your cup of tea, then that should be pretty interesting. I've seen a couple of these idol shows, and I loved the first season of Love Live. It was great. But it's my understanding that they are a definite mixed bag.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not sure where this one falls on there. But like I said, if you want to see a slightly different twist on the phenomenon, then there you go.
I have no idea. Maybe it's going to be like that typical thing. Like, one of my favorite idol ones was Kirarin Revolution, which never actually got released here in the United States. And I never finished it because I got aggravated with it going to sort of the computer animation style. That was, but I really did enjoy. That. I mean, I've watched one Daba style, which is sort of an idol thing, Chance Pop Sessions. But again, nothing revolutionary in that area. Full Moon, however, a series that really needs a full release, only got a partial release here in the United States. That one, however, was an excellent series in that vein. So hopefully this one will be good. What was the one that NIS did that about them saving the school by
Love
Live?
Yeah.
So that one I've heard a lot of good things about.
Yeah, Love Live is something that NIS could not make enough. They could not, and they didn't learn their lesson with the first series, where the first series sold out faster than any show they've ever had, and they still did limited print runs on the second season. That's why I have the first season, and I have the movie. But unfortunately, I, for financial reasons, failed on my bid to pre-order season 2, and it was gone. Like, less than a month later, it was gone. So I'm going to have to make do for the standard for that one of these days, unless NIS does another print run.
And I hate limited runs like that because it really does pressure you to do that purchase, and for the most part, I don't like to do that. I like to purchase at my leisure. Right now, I'm on a sort of purchase ban, though you will still see me bringing up stuff, but it's more in a pile that I have yet to get to. And if you watch my collection video, you'll see where I've got that and I explain that. But those types of things, if I really want it and I really want that edition, unfortunately, you gotta go with it there, or she might lose it, and that's always a problem. And I hate that when you've got like one edition, other edition, other edition.
And it's the same thing that happened with me with season 2 of like Narnia, if I remember correctly. And my initial attempt, I was able to do this one, but my initial attempt on Genshin's second season, I don't always have the budget to be able to get these big ticket special orders when they come out. So all 3 of those, the orders canceled on me. Yep. Like I said, I was able to get Genshin because that wasn't as strong a seller, but the other 2 sold out before I could get back to them. And it just... yeah. But...
Well, so we'll go to a third one, which I have tons to talk about.
Yeah?
Yeah. Regalia... Oh, wait. No... That's for this Ghost.
I got yours.
But yeah, no, Regalia, the 3 Sacred Stars. Okay, so it's Funimation, 13 episodes, and it's sort of like a giant robot sort of fantasy series. Okay, that's basically it I've got on it.
Regalia, the 3 stars, 3 Sacred Stars.
I swear I've heard the name before.
I think I've heard the name, but I could not tell you a thing about it.
Yep.
See, this is one of the issues with not streaming and trying to keep up on anime. We're pretty good at keeping up on anime, but when you're not streaming, that puts you 2 to 5 years behind.
Well, streaming constantly, too.
Yeah, I know, because there's so much every season.
You gotta, constantly. Like, I just watched the first episode of My Hero Academia on Hulu. And
I haven't even seen that yet, but I love the manga so far. It's pretty cool.
So yeah, it's just too much. At least you read that stuff. I don't really get access to them.
A complete flip from before I started the library. I was the guy who didn't read any manga.
I still hold the title of the longest manga read, though, because I've read both all of Ranma 1/2 and I've read all of Inuyasha from start to finish. So
how many volumes is that in the typical release?
I don't know, like 38?
In a regular release? Oh, then Fairy Tail trumps that. Fairy Tail's going to end at 63.
Like the thick series.
Because
when you're talking when you're talking like online,
no,
not online.
I'm talking about like regular tankable volumes like this.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know how many volumes both of those are. I can't remember, but those are the 2 longest I had running. At least I think.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very long running series. So yeah, your go on that one.
Yeah. So we're on part 2 already?
Yep, part 2.
Okay, I must have forgotten about that. Okay, so I think in previous videos he's already commented on this one and complained. There were 4 years ago that this one came out.
Yeah.
It's a series that came out that got a ton of praise. That I think I got to see the first episode, and I think you followed through with it. Is the show Goshik, and Goshik is a gothic mystery sort of detective type story that is considered by many to be one of the best anime in that vein. It was very, 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 very highly rated. I know he loves it very much. And I know that the only reason he hasn't pre-ordered it is because Funimation decided to be dicks and split it into 2 parts. And I kind of agree with that. I would love to have this show, and I think it's worth a limited edition pressing. But I'm wondering, though, because I didn't get a chance to look this up, is this one where they have a limited set for each half? Or is it one of those ones where there's an art box that the second part goes into?
You see, whenever these things come out like that, I don't pay attention to it because I don't want to know. I don't know if they did a limited release. If they did, I'm
pretty sure they did.
Maybe they did, but it would have been with part 1.
Funimation
probably.
Sometimes does it either way. Like, I have Strike Witches where I got season 1 with the art box, and then season 2 slips right in. Or no, I think it was the other way around, actually. It was, which is really weird, but I think it was the other way around. I think Goshik might be like that, but it's one that I will probably wait until there's a complete collection.
Yeah.
But it is on my radar, and it is one I want to get. Like I said, I think I only saw 1 episode, but it was pretty good. and I've just heard too much good stuff about it to not want it.
This is probably my biggest pet peeve with Funimation and with Viz. They both do this practice, and that is releasing 24-episode series, 26-episode series in 2-part chunks. You talk about being environmentally... you've talked about that earlier. We talked about that. To me, they're going at it.
Wow.
But
that's what the cats think about this.
But to me, I look at it and I'm sitting there and thinking to myself, I mean, it's a waste.
Yeah.
It's a waste of plastic when you do like 2 parts like that. You get 1 part wrapped up. It'll and they are going to probably release it that way. Funimation mostly does it.
Funimation is a lot better than Viz at coming back and doing condensed
the full
collections.
I mean, you can see Bleach in the back of me, which is Viz, I believe. And they start out really well. You can see the bigger sets. And then you can see as they move into all of those sets when it could have been much fewer. Though Naruto, they have done good at releasing giant chunks of it in some of the other ones.
Giant series.
But, giant series, giant chunks.
Right.
But Gosick, wonderful series. Can't talk it up enough. If you liked Black Butler, you'd probably like Gosick. It has a similar vibe to it, that sort of Victorian feel to it. Slight arcane build, whereas
that's all about the arcane.
As Black Butler is pretty much mostly on those things. It treats that as more of a subtlety and focuses more on the mystery angle, which is, to me, it was an excellent series. I'm glad I got to watch it, and eventually it will enter there. It will be mine. Oh yes.
Oh yes.
So another one that I actually am familiar a little bit with. I even think I've watched the first season of this, but I can't remember. Shows how much it burned into my brain. Heroic Legend of Arslan. I think is that Arslan?
You're right about the spelling. I guess that's how you say it.
Season 2. So that's just an 8-episode season. It's sort of a medieval fantasy. I want to say that there's a mixture of technology in it, but again, I could be thinking of a different series. Apparently, it did not register to me very well. So, do you know a lot about this? Have you?
I've looked at it. I don't know a tremendous amount about it. It's one that's been on my radar for a while. The name kind of sticks in your mind, and I'm curious about it. I like these kind of old school fantasy epic kind of series, but I don't really know specifics. Yeah.
So, I guess you're up.
Okay, and this one is another one that I definitely know by name. This is Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, a new translation, which according to you've got here, it says the 3 Zeta movies.
Yep, Sunrise release, yep.
Right. The Gundam series, I know we've mentioned in previous posts, it's kind of one of the old school mecha type series that's been around for a long time and has many iterations. To be honest, I really do not remember where this falls in the story or even when it came out. They just kind of bleed together. I haven't really seen any Gundam. I have some in my collection. Yeah. It's on the to-do list.
Oh. Which one do you have in your collection?
Well, I have that half of, I think it was Gundam Wing that I found, which was a hell of a buy, but it was only half of the series.
Well, they were releasing the whole thing.
Yeah, I know, so I'll have to, yeah. But Gundam is high on my to-do list. It's well known in anime circles. It's considered
a staple of it.
Well, it's considered a staple. Definitely, if you are into the Gundam series and you're collecting it, there's a new piece to add to the bunch, but I sadly cannot say for the new people if this is a good entry point or not. But since it's movies, sometimes movies can be a good entry point. You know, like we love to pick on Bleach. We love to pick on Bleach. And some Bleach fans, the 20 people who are still fans of the show, hate the movies. But I'll tell you, I saw the movie Memories of Nobody, the first movie, long before I ever saw any of the show. And it's a great standalone movie. You can enjoy it perfectly well on its own without any issues. The Inuyasha movies are like that. They are great standalone movies that are a good intro. There are certain shows where that... So maybe this will be one of those examples.
I wonder if it's like the original movie trilogy. From what I think I know, I did some research when I was getting the original Mobile Suit Gundam.
Right.
Because I was trying to start the beginning.
Right.
And I think Zeta is the second series. Sunrise is taking a lot of these that some of them have been released in the past, some of them haven't, and they're breathing new life into the Gundam series. Sort of like how was it Lucky Penny that's doing Lupin? I don't know who's doing Lupin. Who's doing Lupin?
I think Eastern Star's been
Eastern
doing.
Star?
They had this
Did
season.
they do this season?
Season 1.
So it's like some of these have been doing like breathing new life into Lupin. Which is good. I think that it is a series. I mean, Gundam is so pivotal in anime that it's worth checking out. And I know that the original trilogy, because I asked around a lot, the original trilogy is sort of a summary of the first series, which, if that's the case, then that would be a good starter, I think.
Okay.
So... who was up? Oh, it was you. So me.
You
another one that I know so much about. Okay, all these ones. I got the last anime on the list of the day, though.
All right.
So, Good Witch of the West. I thought to myself, Made in Japan releasing this 13-episode series. I saw this. I was like, "Ooh, is this Wizard of Oz?" No, it's not Wizard of Oz. And that's essentially what I got from it.
What about this? Magical War for the Throne.
Yeah, I guess it's some sort of King... Game of Thrones-esque magical girl, queen, rubbish stuff. But,
for kids.
It could be good. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Made in Japan is a weird imprint label that, if I recall correctly, some of their stuff is pretty risque, but they've also put out some really good stuff. They were the ones that put out Tokyo Magnitude 8.0, which is a great series. So I'm not sure where this falls on the list. The title's familiar. But I can't say if that's because I've actually looked at it or because it had that shades of Wizard of Oz. I really don't know.
It definitely does bring you in on that, and that's something. So you could actually, the first real movie.
Okay.
It's such a winner, it looks
and
like.
From what they say on IMDb, this does not hardly qualify as a good movie, which is really sad given who's in it. This is a movie called Rough Night. And basically, it's a bunch of girls who were friends in high school, or is it high school or college?
High school.
Okay.
Because 10 years after high school.
10 years after, they get together for a bachelorette party. It stars, of all people, Scarlett Johansson.
Wow.
As well as...
I feel for Scarlett Johansson.
Well, some of the IMDb users were saying she needs to read her scripts better. Kate McKinnon. So that right there, Scarlett Johansson and Kate McKinnon, I'm going to watch it one of these days. But the reviews on IMDb were not flattering. Supposedly it's a pretty stupid, kind of raunchy comedy sort of thing. Which, basically these girls get together for a bachelorette party. Weird stuff happens, like you expect to happen at a bachelorette party. And a male stripper dies. And... obviously, it's a rough night from there on. That's all I really got from it. I don't know if you even looked at...
I mean, The Hangover was a raunchy comedy in that vein. So maybe the good acting will carry it through. Now, from the IMDb rating, it sounds like it doesn't. But
I think they probably made this to be a hangover for a female audience. You got to be careful with these kind of things. Raunchy comedies can be great, but it doesn't happen all that often. You know, for every Hangover or Bridesmaids or American Pie, you got 50 movies better not named. You know, and not to say that any one of those is truly a brilliant film, but those are among the better ones in the group. And I think each one of those spawned so many copycats it wasn't even funny.
Like that one.
Yeah. So there you go. That's a Sony release, because everyone knows Sony makes only good stuff, and
oh yeah,
they do make some good stuff. But
so yeah,
that's all I got to say on that one.
Now, I actually have something to say about this one. You might totally disagree, because this one actually, I have some negative things to say about it. You might actually have a lot of positive about it, because you probably don't. You probably know a little bit more, because it says Oscar bait all over it. And when it says Oscar
this one
bait,
right here?
Yeah. And when it says Oscar bait, I know that you're usually on the case. That's one of the reasons why I was saying to myself, you gotta send some stuff in. I know that your Oscar knowledge is peak. You could probably do those predictions again this year.
I didn't do so well last year.
Well, last year was a weird
But
year.
Then who predicted the way Best Picture would play out? I don't think anyone did.
Yeah, that was weird. So,
oh, man.
One that I don't think is going to actually get a nomination because of this controversy is All Eyes on Me. Lionsgate released it. It's basically a Tupac biopic dramatization, but from what people have told me, I've listened to it, I've read reviews, and from what people have said in these reviews is they took extreme liberties with the truth. In this movie, he would and some of the times he was performing a song that he didn't even write at that time period. It looked like whoever did this did not do their research, from what most I've read have said on that. Now, that being said, I don't know about the acting jobs or anything like that. They could have been spectacular, but if you get your facts wrong, you're not doing the subject matter a service, you're doing them a disservice. So that's my take on it. I don't know how you're...
Well, first, I think it's hilarious that you ended up with this one, since you don't care for gangster rap.
Nope, don't care for it.
Personally, I'm not familiar with Tupac Shakur. I'm not a fan of his, but I do love his song California Love. I think that's pretty cool. And yes, I have to say, everything I have read and heard, I don't think you're wrong. I haven't seen the movie, but...
I don't know enough about his life to actually have made those judgments.
The comments on IMDb, they were rough. It was apparently a lot of people felt that it was a flat out insult to Tupac.
Yeah.
It takes its name from one of his albums, and it's actually spelled eyes with a Z. You know, it's. I actually was interested when this came out, because I do the biopic stuff, because it's usually Oscar bait.
Oh, I love biopic movies usually.
Again, kind of like we were just saying with the raunchy stuff, for every Ray, for every Walk the Line, for every, you get awful movies in there too. And it's like, and some people said that it was clear the producers of this barely did any homework. And it was like,
that's sad, really.
It is very sad. It's very sad.
Because it had a lot of potential. I was actually looking forward to this.
Yeah.
I need to watch, what was that? What was the other one? The one that was...
Straight Outta Compton?
Yeah, exactly. That one.
That was a good
movie. I need to watch that one.
But...
yeah, my wife had said, no, we're never watching this. So that kind of ended the subject right there.
Well, I actually watched Compton with my my brother.
No, not Compton, this one.
No. Oh, she said that about that one. Okay.
Yeah, she wants to watch... she liked Compton, so...
yeah. No, that... Yeah, it's... It is a shame. I was thinking when this came out that, hey, this could be worth watching, but
Well,
everything I've heard. I might get to it one of these days, but it's not a priority. But
hey, you get another biopic.
Yeah, and the next one is an Oscar bait film. Based on what I've heard, it might be an outside contender come award season. This is a movie called Megan Levy, and it's based on it's a true story about a female soldier and her dog. And I know that probably sounds like a really glib way to put it, but I'm not really sure how better to describe it.
I mean,
supposedly it's a very atypical film. It's not, it's not what you would usually think of when you hear that phrase. Apparently, she starts off very flawed and unlikable, and you slowly, over the course of the movie, come to appreciate her more. And I believe, is it Kate Mara that plays her? I think it's Kate Mara. And it has a fascinating supporting cast. Tom Felton's in it, and who was the other that I thought was really weird? But anyway, it's.
Oh yeah.
I looked all this stuff up real late last night. I barely remember, but anyway, I do know this is one that's been kind of sort of on my radar. I'm not sure why I haven't gotten more excited about it, but then again, this kind of movies don't necessarily get me excited. I just watch them so that I can know what really is. And you never know. Every now and then, one of them will hit home with you, and that's like we were joking about the way the Oscars played out last year. I mean, no offense to Mr. Beatty and Dunaway, that was unfortunate, but both La La Land and Moonlight were movies that had people that truly loved them, and people who were completely left out in the cold.
Yeah.
I loved La La Land. I loved it. It really, really hit home for me. It was my top-ranked live-action film of the year.
Never seen it.
And my fourth-ranked film overall. Behind Only Yesterday, Your Name, and Zootopia. It was my highest-ranked film of the year, narrowly beating out Sing Street. Moonlight was much lower on my list. Mm-hmm. I liked it. I thought it was very well done. The acting was great. But the structure, it wasn't as movie-like to me. And so when I think Best Picture, I think of something that's structured like a movie. You know what I mean? And some people might disagree with that, but I consider that part of it. But I fully understand, having seen Moonlight, how a lot of people probably really loved it. I understand how it might have hit some people the way La La Land hit me. And that's the way a lot of these films are. And Megan Levy probably will be like that for some people. I won't know until I see it if it does for me. But, it's worth seeing. But
I think that there is a bit of a way that they can spin it, sort of like the cat. Sort of a patriotic bent.
Right.
And, that can help a lot of people. I mean, look at American Sniper. That really did tug at the patriotism strings. And this could.
That was one that was...
And really, who doesn't love a tale of a woman and her dog? I mean, it's just like this time for the ages, one there. So, from Lionsgate, a company that has been known to publish anything that comes across its doors.
Like All Eyes on Me.
Yeah, there you go. Comes a movie, First Kill. Yeah, well, this basically screams typical action movie. I mean, a man takes his son out to reconnect into the wilderness, and just happens that at that time you've got some criminals that are trying to hide out there, and bloodbath, Die Hard, whatever the heck ensues, and I'm sure some action hero-y things, and yep.
Here you go, boy. Extra 5 points for the head criminal.
I mean, there's another one that's an action film on there, but it has Antonio Banderas on it, so I'm actually much more interested in that one than this one.
Who was in First Kill? I remember it was
there was a name in it.
Yeah, it was a name.
I didn't bother to put the name on my little notes
I don't know.
section.
I did go through all of these, but that was, and I remembered it vaguely, but Security did make more of an impression.
Yeah, that one I
because it
took.
has Antonio Banderas.
For yours, I took it off the list and put it back on the list when I did research and said, "Oh, Amazon's got it wrong."
Yeah. That one's interesting, but
Amazon also has.
Are you going on to that
19 wrong. Yeah, go ahead to that.
Okay,
one.
so
and actually, that would be good for you because I'm sure you would have something to talk about a Russian film.
Oh yeah. Well, this is a film that apparently is coming out through Shout Factory, and Amazon says that it's a December 5th release, but Joe Blow, and did you look on Shout Factory?
Shout Factory would beg to differ about that release date.
They said September 5th.
They said September 5th.
Yeah.
And IMDb
Joe Blow
says
September 5th. So we're going with September 5th. And if we're wrong, whatever.
It'll come back again when we get to
Yes,
that
it'll
time.
come back again, like Fairy Tale did. But this is a film called Guardians, and it's a Russian superhero film. Basically, the idea is they have these superhumans locked away during the Cold War, waiting in reserve for when they're needed.
Team America.
Yeah, Team America. Yeah, Team Soviet World Police. So basically, I can't remember if it was Guardians. One of these movies, it might have been First Kill. One of these movies had a crap rating on IMDb. I can't remember.
So did this one.
This one had a low rating, but one of them was like 3 something.
Oh, right.
I can't remember what it was, but Guardians had a very low rating. But the idea of a Russian superhero film, it's probably worth watching. I'm curious about it. I hope I don't regret that.
If you get the physical copy, it would definitely be a good release. Shout Factory does great releases.
And you got to give them points for releasing this, because Russian films tend to be hard to get in this country. There are some, but they produce a lot of films, and not a lot of them just are not available here. So it's worth checking out the ones you can get.
And though I talk about physical media a lot on here, I am one to always say, if you have a streaming service, use it so that you can investigate it. Don't buy stuff just to buy stuff to pad your collection. It's a mistake I've made. I know it's a mistake you've made. If it's something that you know is solid, if you know it's a solid product, go for it, obviously. But if it's something, say, that's slightly dubious, like, I don't know, Guardians, it might be worth checking out on streaming. I know this will hit streaming. Shout Factory has their own little freebie streaming site. It will hit streaming before. I like to look at something like this before unless it's a known quantity, I tend to want to do that, and this sounds like one of those. Same with, I won't watch First Kill, so I can't really say. I might watch it one day, like if Ken's watching it on the TV, and it's like, okay, well, all right. It's like, hey, this First Kill, I wanted to watch it. So speaking of First Kill, something else, Paul Blart Mall Cop 3.
No!
Security. Oh wait, no, it's not.
No.
It's a movie called Security.
Good.
Produced by Universal. So we got the Universal release. Antonio Banderas, of all people, starring in what looks to be an action flick about a mall cop who has PTSD because of his time in the war, whatever war that was. And then terrorists or something take over the mall.
Yeah, I love your description here. Facing off with terrorists or something.
Yeah, something like that. And to me, it sounds like Paul Blart Mall Cop, except it's a action and not a comedy.
Actually, it sounds like Paul Blart mixed with Observe and Report.
But
with Antonio Banderas instead.
Antonio Banderas is boy, that would be a... I just can't take this seriously. That's the thing, is that it's just hard for me to take seriously. I keep seeing the scenes that they used to play for the cartoon and Family Guy that they would watch, and Antonio Banderas beats the crap out of the bad guys and looks at them and says, "Vaya con Dios," and that's how he ends it.
Okay.
I might be wrong. Maybe this is one that you're like saying this is going to be the best film. It's going to be like Best Picture or something.
Not likely. But I seem to remember this one had a somewhat better rating. I don't remember.
Yeah, well I mean, it doesn't sound like it's terrible. It sounds like it's a mediocre action flick.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's got to be better than Paul Blart 2. First Kill's got to be better than Paul Blart 2. I mean, that's...
Yeah,
well, maybe not.
It's hard to say, really.
It's hard to say, yes. Okay, so we're going to the next?
Yep.
Okay. This one apparently is pretty divisive, but looks interesting.
Yeah.
This is a show called Band-Aid.
Talk about idol stuff.
Yeah, well... this is a Shout Factory release, apparently. Yeah. And it's a little indie film. I can't remember the lead actors' names, but Fred Armisen apparently is a supporting player. And I think your description here sounds pretty good. Couple turns to making music in order to resolve marital problems. My understanding is that this couple has some issues. I think there's like a miscarriage and some other issues. And they turn to music, and I think it's supposed to actually be a musical. Yeah. It's a very fascinating setup for a musical. I mean, that's an unusual idea. And it just looks interesting. I mean, it might be kind of gloomy and depressing. I'll find out one day. But it is one that I intend to see. It looks interesting. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be very quick with this one. I mean, it really is one of those series. Either you want to collect it and you'll get this part, or you don't and you won't. And the same thing with the next one, really, after that. But it's Flash Season 3. I like the series. It's a great series. I've got the first 2 seasons. I've watched half of the first season. You've watched all of the first season.
Yeah, I have the first season, but so it's like we're reversed there almost.
So neither of us, I don't think, has seen the third season. So I think that one, that's like the crossover with Supergirl or something.
I think it shows up in the third season because they're just starting season 4, right?
Yeah, they're just starting this year.
I think third season starts with Flashpoint, like their version of Flashpoint. And it's my understanding it plays a lot more with alternate Earths and alternate realities. And it's also the one where Caitlin Frost comes out as Killer Frost. And I think there's some other big stuff involved there. To long-term characters. Looking through the episodes, I see that Mirror Master has appeared by then. He doesn't appear in season 1. So there's a lot going on, and it looks interesting. And I loved season 1. And I would love to get more of the show. But one day.
If they were ever looking to do a crossover with Gotham, because they're not technically in the same universe, that they do nods to each other, Flashpoint is a way that you could do that because it's a different universe.
Right.
So you could theoretically do it that way. Mm-hmm. Well, you've got another one that's...
Yeah, and this, unfortunately, is one that I have very little familiarity with, but enough that I was shocked to see that we're up to season 12 of Supernatural. 12 seasons! And it's starting 13 soon.
I have the anime.
Yeah, this is an American show that actually has an anime counterpart. This is really cool. And I'm not familiar with either one. One of these days, because I'm interested. It's basically one of those paranormal investigation kind of series, which can be a lot of fun.
It's got a good rap. I mean,
it has a very good rap. It has some
12 seasons.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to have some fans to stay on the air that long. Yeah, it's one day I'll definitely get to it. But like he said, with both of these shows, you probably already are at least kind of aware of them by this point. Yeah. Especially Supernatural's been around so long. If you're not at least trying to watch it, but who knows? Maybe you'll be one of the people that changes your mind after this. Who knows?
This is one of those series that's on my list because I got the anime for like a couple of bucks, but it's not on my priority list by any means. And with it being 12 seasons, I'm not in any hurry to collect a super long show. I could see maybe if I found it, like, say, somebody dropped off 10 seasons at the library for you, and then you're like,
If someone does that, I'm snapping it up. Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm not holding my breath for that.
No, well, you never know. I mean, that Big Bang thing, I got, you wouldn't have thought that. Yeah.
No, you wouldn't know.
So, another series I'm not very familiar with, but I like PBS. I like English TV, and it's kind of cool to see anything like that. And Masterpiece Mystery has a release of Season 4 of Endeavour. I think it's a police procedural.
It is.
I haven't seen an episode. I probably will never see an episode because I don't really like police procedurals. I mean, adding an English accent does help a little bit for me, but for the most part, I'm sick of police procedurals. I've had to sit with SVU in the background enough times that I'm just sitting there like, I don't ever want to see another police procedural again.
And yet we watch Gotham. Gotham's
not really a police procedural. It's sort
police
of
procedural. It started as one, and they decided against that very quickly.
Yeah. They went in a weird direction.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of Endeavour. It is one that we have that people check out. It's one that's on my radar. They are, I think, up to Season 5 already, but Season 4 is the one that's just now coming out. British TV does tend to be a little bit behind the curve for American releases. It looks interesting. There are probably as many police procedurals in Britain as there are in the U.S., and like you said, there's so many of them. I doubt I'll get to it unless, something triggers me looking at this particular one. But it's on my radar, and it may be one day.
Again, the library dump.
Yeah. So you never know. And actually, there have been some British ones recently. Next one up is one that I know the title very, very, very well because...
Another biopic.
Yes. This book, it's based on a nonfiction book that is very popular, not just in general. It is probably the most popular nonfiction book right now for book clubs, or at least that's the impression I've gotten. But it's an HBO TV movie called The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. And according to IMDb, it lives up to its name.
Yeah.
Their rating is not particularly flattering for a TV movie, especially for a biopic with such a high level of interest. I still am curious, and I might try to see it one of these days, but I'm surprised, given the popularity of the story, that the movie got such weak ratings,
Well,
It's
if it's not well executed.
Yeah. But also HBO makes pretty, not all, they're not bulletproof, but they have made some really good shows. So this may be one of their missteps. I don't know, but it is worth checking out.
If anything, to read it. I've read actually a little bit of the book myself, which is a rarity on my case. But
I need to read it.
And but it is a very interesting subject matter. It is very important. You talk about history and things that were left out. I mean, her cells were vital in several cures, several things that very important. Very important story, very important person. So, if anything, very much worth checking out. So, on to something completely different.
Completely different.
So another one that Amazon said, we released this back in July. But further investigation says that that's also wrong. Which is Gumby the movie. I'm sure it did get a release. And it's a rather cool looking set. Did you take a look at the set?
No, I couldn't.
Huh.
And this is why I'm so puzzled about you saying this about Amazon. When I tried to click the link from Joe Blow to Amazon, which usually works, almost always works, I got the sad dog page that said there was no listing.
Oh, I just type in the name after that. And then,
well, I figured there might be a couple, and I didn't know which was which. I wanted to be sure I knew I was looking at the right one. But yeah,
Gumby is a series that is on my radar eventually because it was a part of my childhood.
A silly part, but a part nonetheless.
Yeah, I always was fascinated with the claymation aspect, and I'm fascinated with claymation in general.
Mm-hmm.
And it is one of the original claymations, and Gumby. I'm not going to be making any moves towards it soon. The set looks really cool. I mean, it really does. It's like done in the shape of like Gumby's head. Cool Duder, which is a guy that I actually follow, he does his like weekly pickups or so on, and he gets sent stuff a little bit in advance to review, and he did his last week, so that's also another indicator knowing that it's being released soon. And it looked really cool. I mean, you should check out his video. He actually does show you what it looks like. I'm very interested in looking at it, but only if somebody gave it to me for free. But it's by a place called Encircle Entertainment. Never heard of them before. I don't know if you've heard about that company.
Doesn't ring a bell. That doesn't mean I haven't encountered anything. I just don't know anything about them.
Well, nothing, at least they're there.
Yeah.
Oh, you get one that's actually one that you know a lot about.
Yeah, and it's a priority one. Now, this, granted, is a movie I have not seen for several years.
I have it somewhere in my collection.
I don't think I do, so this will be an ideal opportunity for me to get it. We have already talked at length on this channel about Criterion releases, and we've touched on, I think I've touched on Hitchcock at one point or another, probably. One of the movies, he was already pretty well known and respected in Britain, but one of the movies that really put him on the map in the U.S., and ironically, far and away, one of the most Oscar-lauded films he ever made, was Rebecca. 1940 release, I think, which is a weird, creepy, atmospheric movie that is really, really interesting, based on a book by Daphne du Maurier that just today I thought about checking out. I need to read that book, but it's a famous book that's very highly regarded. The movie is essential Hitchcock. If you have any interest in his films at all, you've got to check this one out. And as we have pointed out before, Criterion releases come with all sorts of bells and whistles and goodies. And since I don't think I do have it, this is going to be an excellent opportunity to get it, as it will be for anyone else that doesn't have it yet.
Yeah, of course. I think I have a copy of it already. I can't remember off the top of my head. I could probably type it in here and say I have it. I have a nice little app on my phone, which I always tell people about. It's this movie collection app, which you can't see. And you can actually, once you type everything in, you simply you can either scan. You can actually scan in the thing, and I've got Rebecca, 1940, 130 minutes. I got it on Blu-ray apparently.
Now, remind me who stars in that. Is a pretty big name cast, wasn't it?
IMDb, but
really?
You can enter in a lot of information in it. I choose because of the massive size of my collection. But let's say you have a collection that's, say, maybe like, I don't know, like 100 or something like that. And that still needs tracking. It's worthwhile. I mean, it was like 99 cents to get the full version, and it's been useful. I've had it over like 3 phones. So, and this cat has seen it at work. So, last one of the night. Narcos, Season 2. The Pablo Escobar thriller.
Pablo Escobar?
Or Bar, yes. It doesn't really matter. It's about narcos.
Yes.
And they do their thing. Their policey work to bust drug dealers and all that stuff. And take down with that, down with them, and all the drugs they do. Because it's bad.
Drugs are bad, okay?
Exactly. And that's really all I have to say about that.
You can tell it's about the end of the video here. Yeah, well, Pablo Escobar, that's a story that keeps coming back to. I think last summer there was the Bryan Cranston film, The Infiltrator, which was really good movie, well worth watching. It's an interesting story. I've never seen the series Narcos, but I've heard of it. I've heard pretty good things about it. It's on my radar. One day. Quite a few of these are like that, but
we will learn all the films.
Yes. All.
Yes.
Yes. Well, as he was saying before, also, is you gotta pick and choose, unfortunately, and a lot of these that are on my radar might never anything ever happen of that. But it's definitely worth at least looking into. Maybe one day I'll start doing more streaming and I might watch the series or something like that. But probably not until I get much further into the physical part of the collection.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my physical collection almost always takes priority. Yeah. I usually do streaming. Well, stuff that if it's somewhat new and I want to take a look at it, if I want to actually approach buying it, if it's something I'm not as interested in, shoot. Some series that I've actually watched. I watched Worst Witch, part of that. About 5 or 6 episodes into that. I've been interested in that. The Tick. I watched the first couple episodes of Daredevil. Have they
posted the rest of The Tick yet?
They've posted a bit of it.
Okay.
We can check out a little bit more tonight if you want. And but that's but that's it. I think for this time around, and we will see you next week with the next releases.
All right, have a good one.
Have a good day.